till she woke up. Okay. Miles tiptoed into the room, took a chair, and carried it across to put it next to me. How did you get here? When I got your message from reception, I got in my rental car, but because I had no note from the authorities to say I could leave, the darn guard wouldn't open the gates. So then I had to scale the fence, call a cab, and wait for it to arrive outside. We both stifled a giggle. Does this constitute a mass breakout of ranch inmates? It sure might. Yes, he agreed. How are you? Oh, okay. Apart from a sore arm. I indicated the one that was still stroking Vanessa's hair. She said her mom used to do this. She told me she was dead. Yeah, she is. What happened? I don't know, Miles said. Vanessa is HIV positive, so it might have been AIDS. Vanessa stirred, and I hushed Miles. You better go. We'll talk later? Hey, I can do quiet. I'll just sit right here and keep you company. And so he did. And I had the oddest sensation that we were parents watching over our kid. Despite the circumstances, it felt comforting. As a clock on the wall ticked by the hours until dawn, my head became heavy and I began to doze. I felt an arm come around my shoulders and pull me closer so I could rest my head against his warm chest. Chapter 22. I'm thirsty, said a voice somewhere in the distance. I jolted awake as my pillow was taken from behind my head and I opened my eyes. Miles was pouring some water into a cup and pressing the button that made the bed rise so that Vanessa could take a drink. Just sips now, honey. Take it slowly, he said, holding the straw for her. When Vanessa had finished, he sat back down in the chair and she turned to look at us. What are you two doing here? You my mom and dad or something? I smiled as Vanessa voiced just how I'd felt last night. I can see you're feeling better, Missy, Miles smiled. You scared us. Vanessa shrugged. I was hoping I'd never have to wake to see another morning, but hey, here I am. Maybe it was me, but I thought Vanessa seemed perkier. Electra here has refused to leave you all night in case you woke up, said Miles, who then turned to me. How about you go freshen up and find someone who can bring us some coffee? As it happened, I was bursting to go to the bathroom, so I agreed. Black or white? I asked. You talking about coffee, ma'am? He said, smirking at me. Ha, you'll get what you're given. Hey, you two got a thing going on or what? Vanessa chirped from the bed as I left the room. Heat rose up my neck as I went to the washroom and looked at myself in the mirror. My hair had untied itself from its plait and hung greasily in curtains on either side of my face, and my eyes had great pouches beneath them. I did my best to tidy myself up, but with no equipment to hand, it was impossible, so I walked down the corridor in search of coffee. Room service will be here shortly, I said as I re-entered the room. Vanessa eyed me. You sure have some strange accent going on there, don't she, Miles? I was brought up in Switzerland, that's why. My mother tongue is French, I added, as I went to sit down and Miles stood up. Excuse me, while I leave you girls together and go and wash up too. I ain't never been outside Manhattan apart from coming here, and this ain't like no emergency room I ever visited. Vanessa rolled her eyes as Miles left. Do I have to screw someone to pay for it? No, it's all paid for, Vanessa. I reassured her as I watched her nod and her eyes began to droop like a puppy who had woken up to play and had suddenly run out of energy. It was difficult to believe that the sullen young woman I'd slept next to in rehab had tried to take her own life last night and woken up this morning seemingly so happy. Maybe it was the fact that both Miles and I were there for her. Or, my heart sank at the thought, was it more to do with the fact that she was probably on some kind of opiate for the pain and her brain was simply reacting to the stimulant? She's sleeping again, I said, as Miles reappeared at the same time as a nurse came with the coffee. I gulped back the hot liquid after lacing it with sugar to replace